60-minute men. That's the name given to the players who played Ironman football. Ironman football being a type of football where you only have one platoon, meaning there were no offensive and defensive lineups. No, these 60-minute men played the entire football game, and they were both the offense and the defense. What might seem impossible now was the standard back then. That is, until 1950 rolled around, when the NFL permanently adopted the unlimited free substitution rule. This rule allowed players to be taken out of the game at any given play, and also brought back in whenever and however many times teams wanted. And with the NFL gradually increasing roster sizes in the preceding years, naturally teams would have players specialize on one side of the ball, thus creating offensive and defensive players. And as a result, the need for 60-minute men quickly diminished. In the midst of this transitional period, there was one player that stood unfazed. His name was Chuck Bednarik, and he was the last of a dying breed. But he wasn't just known for playing offense and defense. No, he was known for being an incredible center and an incredible linebacker at the same exact time. However, that Hall of Fame career came to a conclusion in 1962, effectively marking the end of the 60-minute men. As decades have gone by, the NFL has evolved. As the skill level and complexity has increased and the game has grown, so have the expectations for the modern-day NFL player. Playing both sides in the NFL is significantly harder now than it was in the era of the 60-minute men. Players have enough on their plate already with just playing one position at a high level, let alone two. The concept of a player being a full-time starter on offense and defense in the modern NFL is nothing more than that. A concept, a thought, a fantasy even. Well, at least it was for over half a century. Until one player in 2024 claimed that he could do it. And I believe if anyone over the last 60 years were to pull off this impossible feat, Travis Hunter would undoubtedly be the best candidate, because he's not just an anomaly. He already did what for decades was considered impossible and proved everyone wrong. And now, he's looking to do it again. To understand how special Travis Hunter truly is, let's go back to when this anomaly began. Travis Hunter was born in West Palm Beach, Florida in 2003. In his teenage years, Travis Hunter would relocate to Suwanee, Georgia, where he would begin attending Collins High School in 2018. There, he would make the varsity football team in just his freshman year, in large part because of his freakish athleticism. He played as a cornerback as well as a wide receiver, but Travis's junior year was by far his best season of his entire high school career. He amassed 1,700 receiving yards and 24 receiving touchdowns. He also had 51 tackles, 8 interceptions, and 7 passes deflected. Now, by his senior year, Travis Hunter was the guy. He was a 5-star prospect that was a consensus #1 overall recruit in the nation, and this special two-way player had his eyes set on going to FSU. Well, at least until signing day came around, when the Florida State commit Travis Hunter had a change of plans. Instead of heading to the big-name school, Travis Hunter would instead flip his commitment at the last second to the HBCU, Jackson State University. This move wasn't just shocking, it was unprecedented. It was one of the craziest moments in college recruitment history. But why? Why would Travis Hunter opt to make the decision? Well, according to him, it was because he wanted to play under NFL legend Deion Sanders, who was at the time the head coach of Jackson State University. And Deion Sanders was one of, if not the only head coach in the country that would give Travis Hunter the opportunity to play both sides. Now, while Travis Hunter had the freedom to play how he wanted at JSU, he didn't have much chance of actually doing it. His freshman season was riddled with injuries, and as a result, he didn't put up the numbers he would have liked. However, he still showed flashes and was a key factor in the JSU Tigers finishing the regular season 12-0 for the first time in school history and becoming SWAC champions along the way. Shortly after Travis Hunter's freshman year, he would follow Deion Sanders and transfer to the Colorado Buffaloes. There he would be playing in the Pac-12, in a conference and division that was significantly tougher. It's true that Deion Sanders would be inheriting a very weak team. The Buffaloes were coming off a season where they only won once. But Deion Sanders had a game plan in mind to turn around this program. A game plan that at the forefront featured 2-star players, his son Shedeur Sanders and his protege Travis Hunter. In the season opener, the Colorado Buffaloes would be facing a tough opponent in TCU, who were just coming off a season where they made it all the way to the national championship. No one in their right mind had the Buffaloes even coming close to winning this game, which just made the upset all that much better. Travis Hunter played phenomenal in his debut, as he had 119 receiving yards and a big-time red zone interception in their 45-42 victory. This game was when Travis Hunter began to garner some serious attention. In the 9 games Travis played in 2023, he averaged 119 snaps per game, and he accumulated 700 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 5 pass deflections. This 2023 campaign by Travis Hunter was impressive, no doubts. Playing both sides of the ball is one of the rarest things in college football, and he was playing both the cornerback position and the wide receiver position at a high level. Travis Hunter played an unearthly amount of snaps in his 2023 season, which as a result forced Travis to refrain from practicing during the regular season, as he had to allow his body to recover. This meant that Travis Hunter didn't have the privilege to actually progress and improve his technique as the season went on. But in the offseason, he took advantage of the time and opportunity, and he significantly improved every aspect of his already incredible skill sets. If you thought Travis Hunter's 2023 season was incredible, well then his 2024 season might honestly be inconceivable. The 2024 Colorado Buffaloes would have their best season in almost a decade, finishing with a 9-3 record. Travis Hunter would play week in and week out, averaging an absurd 120 snaps a game. To say he was a major factor in the 2024 Buffalo success would be a complete understatement. The 2024 Colorado Buffaloes as an entire football team had a grand total of 1,725 snaps from scrimmage in the regular season. Scrimmage meaning offense and defense. Travis Hunter was on the field for 1,460 of those snaps. He played 84.6% of the team's total snaps from scrimmage in the entirety of the 2024 regular season. To put this into perspective, the second highest percentage this season in all of the FCS was just 56. This is just unheard of. But it gets even crazier if you take out the 2 games where Travis Hunter was forced to leave due to injury, which in this case would be Week 7 against Kansas State and Week 8 against Arizona. The Buffaloes would have a total of 1,464 snaps from scrimmage in 10 games. Of those 1,464 snaps, Travis Hunter was on the field for 1,370 of them, which means he played 93.2% of the team's total snaps on offense and defense combined. This was straight up superhuman stuff that Travis Hunter was doing in the 2024 season. But snaps usually have a negative notion surrounding them. Most people don't consider snaps a meaningful stat. Oh, a player had almost 1,500 snaps in a season? That means nothing. It's not an indication of how good they are, usually. Well, except in this case, because Travis Hunter isn't just playing an unearthly amount of snaps for the sake of it, he's playing all of those snaps at an elite level. As a wide receiver, he recorded 96 receptions for 1,258 receiving yards and 15 receiving touchdowns in his 2024 campaign. He became one of the best receivers in all of college football with his athleticism, speed, flexibility, ball skills, and his ability to come down with some of the craziest, most contested catches you'll ever see. He's also a huge playmaker after the catch, being very elusive and quick, and creating something out of what would be otherwise considered nothing. And the cherry on top is his ability to anticipate cornerbacks and counter them accordingly, as he plays a position himself. As a cornerback, he had 4 interceptions, 11 pass deflections, and 1 game-winning forced fumble. He became arguably the best corner in the 2025 drafts. His ability to lock down receivers and run the routes for them is incredible. His ability to break up passes, cause interceptions, and fluidly track the ball also made him more of a threat to opposing offenses. As a result of this incredible season, Travis Hunter was awarded the Chuck Bednarik Award, being named the nation's top defensive player, and the Fred Biletnikoff Award, being crowned the nation's best wide receiver. And oh yeah, winning the Heisman Trophy, a feat so remarkable that it's never been done before. Now, when it's all said and done, Travis Hunter's 2024 season will undoubtedly go down as one of the most extraordinary college football seasons ever. But he doesn't just want to be known as the greatest two-way player in college football history. No, Travis Hunter has said that he wants to do it at the NFL level as well. History shows us that two-way players in college almost never continue doing it in the NFL. If they do, they predominantly play one side, and maybe get used in extremely limited and situational plays on the other. Oftentimes, there is a huge disparity between the two positions, so naturally it only makes sense to play what you're better at, especially considering the NFL's higher level of play. But Travis Hunter is different because he was a full-time starter on offense and defense in his Heisman season, and he's not just arguably cornerback 1 in the 2025 draft, he's also arguably wide receiver 1 at the same exact time. Titans head coach Brian Callahan, who by the way has possession of the #1 overall pick, has said that Travis Hunter probably starts at corner and then you find ways to inject him in the offense as he gets more comfortable. This seems to be the general consensus, that he's good at both, but he's more natural at corner. But then you have Browns GM Andrew Berry and some other teams saying that they see Travis Hunter as a receiver first. Never in the history of the NFL have we had a situation like this. And even after evaluating and deciding what position Travis Hunter will primarily be playing, there's an even more puzzling conundrum that awaits the team that drafts him. On one hand, an NFL team can draft Travis Hunter with the sole intent of focusing on one position, but at the same time, it would be malpractice and honestly, depending on where he's drafted, a waste of a pick to not utilize his abilities on the other side of the ball. On the other hand, you allow Travis to play significant time on offense and defense, and there's a world where he might even be your best player on both, but the more snaps you give him, the more the risk of injuring your generational talent increases, effectively losing 2 players for the price of 1. In the process of evaluating Travis Hunter, many people have already preemptively constrained him into a box, establishing a limit to what he can do, not necessarily with ill intent, but rather as a means to preserve him and increase his chances of having a long and successful career. But at the same time, this boxer ceiling is really only there because playing two ways in the NFL has never truly been done before, at least not to the magnitude that Travis Hunter believes he can. Recently, Travis has said that he's going to prove that he's capable of playing both positions. He understands that he'll have to work for it, meaning if he's drafted as a cornerback, then he'll prove that he can be a receiver, and vice versa. And I believe this is the way you go about it. First, you let him prove himself at one position, and if he's good at that, then you give him the opportunity to play on the other side. And if he's good at that too, and it doesn't affect his level of play, then I don't see why Travis Hunter can't become the first full-time two-way player in the modern NFL. Ultimately, what Travis Hunter wants to do in the NFL is going to be extremely difficult, risky, and taxing both physically and mentally. And it will also be tremendously hard to sustain. But just the fact that there's so much discourse surrounding this topic makes me think if anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be him. Now, I'm not guaranteeing you he's gonna pull this off, but if he somehow does do it, he not only cements himself as one of the most extraordinary players ever, he also opens up a path that up to now was considered impossible, potentially paving the way for a new era of football.